All right, so while we're waiting for you guys to come on, I'm going to talk about anabolic and catabolic energy or mindsets. And I'm going to use mindset and energy interchangeably here. So this way, if the word energy is too touchy-feely, too hippy-dippy, whatever, just think of it as, different mindsets or perceptions. And not only am I going to talk about anabolic and catabolic mindsets, I'm going to talk about how they compare to the light and dark side of the Force. I may have had a Star Wars marathon this weekend with the kiddo, and so Star Wars is on my mind. All right, so, and I'm going to read this word for word, right? There are two different kinds of mindsets, anabolic and catabolic. So, anabolic describes energy that is constructive, expanding, fueling, healing, and growth-oriented. Anabolic mindsets helps you move forward and achieve positive, long-term, successful results, and is useful in leading others in the same direction. Using anabolic mindsets or energy allows you to have a more complete and conscious view of what is going on around you and to more easily come up with solutions and innovations. Catabolic energy or mindset, on the other hand, is draining, resisting, contracting energy. While catabolic energy provides you with an energetic boost to combat what you perceive to be a stressful situation, it is also distracting and acts like a blinder through which you can only see a limited view of a situation, thus reducing available choices to you. Though it may offer some short-term benefits, when used on a long-term basis, it imparts mental, emotional, and physical tolls that are potentially destructive to you, to your organization, and to all those around you. So, I don't know if any of you can kind of start seeing some of the comparisons, or some of the likeliness to some of the likeness to the light side and dark side of the Force. Now, here's the thing: between catabolic and anabolic energy, or the light side and dark side of the Force, if you put on your Yoda hat, there is no good or bad, right? There really isn't. It's how you use them. So when we look at the light and dark side of the Force, you have the light side of the Force, which I'll go into details with the light side of the Force in a second. But the light side of the Force, which is supposedly more peaceful, more defense oriented, and it leads more towards teaching. While the dark side of the Force, it's all emotion, or as they describe it as, it's all passion and power. And that the thing here is, those who chose the dark side of the Force were ruled by their emotions. So if you take Anakin, or if you take Kylo, and in the later movies, they are ruled by their emotions. Their rage, their fury drives all of their actions. So again, if they have the temporary boost, they have that power boost, where it's easy to become seduced by the dark force. The dark side of the Force. It's easy to get sucked into your emotions. And it's easy to just, to actually rise up and gain your power from that. But think of the toll that the tolls that had to be paid in order for them to use that dark side of the Force. If you look at, Darth Sidious, or, the Emperor, how old and wrinkled and whatever he was, he was powerful. I'll give him that. He was freaking powerful. He looked like crap. And he probably felt like crap. And then if you look at Vader, again, extremely powerful, lost his family, lost many body parts, and same thing with Kylo. Powerful, yet in order to be that powerful, he had to kill his family. He had to. And spoiler, he had to kill his dad. So it's the tolls that it's taking on, and you can see that emotional, turmoil that's going on in his head. You can see it clearly on film. So now here we go. Here we compare to the light side of the force. Very anabolic. It's building. It's peaceful. Although what I think happened was, and this is where a lot of the discrepancies lie between the light side and the dark side of the force, is that they say that the Jedi Order says you cannot have emotion. So if you look at the actual the Jedi Order's code, the very first line is, there is no emotion, there is peace. Well, big news, guess what? Peacefulness is an emotion, right? So here, all right, light side of the force, the Jedi code. There is no emotion, there is peace. There is no ignorance, there is knowledge. Hi, Sharky. There is no passion, there is serenity. There is no chaos, there is harmony. There is no death, there is the force. So again, the Jedi Order, they're people, they're men, they're aliens, whatever. Those are words that were created by beings that had perception, that had bias. So they say no emotion, but here's the thing, the true light side is, yes, having emotion, but not being ruled by it. You're still able to make choices in spite of your emotion. Now, if we go to the... all right, no, before I tend to jump back and forth between my points. So back to the light force, Yoda, for instance. Yoda, unlike the rest of the Jedi, the Jedi Order, actually had emotions. You can see it. He had joy, laughter, peacefulness. He had times where he was in deep contemplation about what to do for the future of the Order itself, or the future of the Force, to maintain balance. You can't have balance, if the dark side is all, anger and hatred. Well, then what's the balance to that? If there's no emotion on this side, it's not balance. It becomes a vacuum, kind of, maybe. Close enough, right? All right, so now onto the dark side. There is the Sith code here, and I'm gonna break this down for you too. So the code of the Sith, right? Peace is a lie. There is only passion. Yeah. Through passion, I gain strength. Right here is where we start to see ego, right? I gain strength. It's not the strength for everyone else. It's I gain strength. Through strength, I gain power. Through power, I gain victory. Through victory, my chains are broken, and the force shall free me. Free me. This, it's interesting. So, in essence, what this is trying to say is, without conflict, you cannot grow. To a point, yes. It's how you grow that matters. So even with conflict, if you choose to be ruled by your emotions and you choose to gain power and strength and victory over other people, and your point is to say that I'm better because I broke free of all y'all's crap, then that would be the dark side. That would be very catabolic. And this is where, there's so much judgment that lies within that. Now, if you go to the light side of the force, or very anabolic, yes, there is still struggle, and there is still emotion. It's what you choose to do in spite of that. So, yes, there's a struggle between, like, say, ourselves and our friends' drama and all that crap that we tend to get pulled into, right? In essence, being very anabolic about it, you can not necessarily rise above it, but more like, hey, I understand this is the way you feel, right? It's very understandable. A lot of people go through that. I've been through it myself. But this is what you choose to do in order to better yourself, because you can only change yourself, right? That's very anabolic. That, in essence, is the light side of the force. And it's not about gaining strength. It's not about gaining power, because no one is weak. You actually gain strength by ignoring all the crap, right? You can actually gain strength. It takes a lot of strength to not be sucked into some drama. It takes a lot of strength to not be sucked into your depression or your anxiety or society's image or whatever of females, or it takes a lot of strength to not go down the path of the cookie cutter roles of women or wife or friend or whatever, right? It takes strength to stay away from that and to be true to yourself. That is the light side of the force, and that is very anabolic. And that is what's going to bring you lasting peace. While if you gain power and strength through judgment and through saying, well, I'm better than you motherfuckers, well, that's not going to be very lasting. And it's going to take a toll on you, because you constantly have to prove yourself better than everyone else, better than that person. And that's just fucking tiring, yo. So what we see towards the later movies, right? You can see the actual difference between like the old way of doing things, between the Jedi and the Sith, right? With Kylo Ren, Ben Solo, and how Rey mixes both the light and dark sides. And this is where you can really truly see that there is no good or bad when it comes to your emotions, when it comes to your, when it comes to the light and dark side, anabolic or catabolic. There is no bad. It's how you use it. So in terms of Kylo, you can see he's ruled by his emotions, and you can see the conflict in his head, and you can see with that conflict, he decides to destroy a bunch of shit. He decides to, have his rage fits in the fucking elevators just because he can, or he has no other means to let all that emotion out, let that aggression out. Where you see Rey, on the other hand, she actually mixes both the light and dark side of the force and uses both to her advantage. So you can see her emotions and her, maybe some anger and some, I don't want to say negative, but some of the darker sides of the force. You can see that she not necessarily struggles with it, but you can see them show up. But then she chooses to remain on the light side, or she chooses to help other people instead of, rising above and proving I'm right and you're wrong. Right? She chooses to help others. She chooses to remain anabolic. So she uses the dark side to her advantages for that burst of energy, burst of power. But it's her actions after that. That's what counts. And so it's the same thing when it comes to all of us in our everyday actions. So, you choose to. You can use your emotions, use that anger, use that whatever that you have, and use it to your benefit. So, say the first thing that comes to my mind is going into like having a little bit of a, not necessarily anxiety attack, like going through a bit of depression, right? Where you just go through like this week of, I don't want to do shit. I'm sitting on the couch. I'm comfortable. Well, here's where you reach in and you find that anger and get angry with yourself, right? So this is using the dark side, using catabolic energy, using a catabolic mindset. When am I going to get pissed off at myself for sitting on the couch, right? Yeah, I needed to sit on the couch. I needed a break. I needed a day or two. I needed some recharge time. That's cool. But for some, I need to get angry at myself to actually have like, well, when am I, find the motivation to get up and do stuff. Well, I'm pissed off because I haven't showered in 3 fucking days and I fucking smell. So I hate the fact that I smell and I am angry, so I'm going to go take a shower, right? It's something, it's that's almost a weak example, but that is an example of how to use the dark side or how to use catabolic energy to your benefit without judging everyone else, right? The only person you can change is yourself. The only person you can change is yourself, and then you will see how everyone else's reactions to you change.